I chose the bootcamp courses because the lessons were great. The techniques that were being taught were amazing, the theory with it. And the feedback, I think, is the most important thing, to actually have a live person on the other side telling you what's wrong and giving you direction on how to get better.
It's different learning in this type of environment, but it was as far as I can tell, the very most efficient way that I've been able to practice and learn new strategies on guitar that continue to challenge me. And that's one thing that I was pretty drawn in about, is that you've got artists on here like Luca and a whole bunch of the other guys that you guys are on there are just monsters. And I was like, I need some of that in my life for sure.
And so when I saw JTC Bootcamp, I'm like, dude, this is amazing. You submit like specific videos for specific lessons. And I think that's just what I needed. Like the slap in the face. It's not good. Do it again. I was surprised at first at how specific and almost grueling the feedback was. Because you tend, when you're in isolation, you tend to think you're much better than you really are.
And I think without the feedback, I would just go from one lesson to another and say, oh, I learned this, I learned this, I learned this. But you pick out the things that I think are important in musicianship. You're rushing here, timing is not good here, you're not clean there. And it's really those things that make people sound good or not good, even though the lesson might be on the Mixolydian mode, but you're teaching me musicianship, which I think is invaluable.
Conversation going early on, I said, I'm not looking for somebody to tell me, hey, good job, let's move on to the next thing. I wanted to really earn it. Yeah. And you were very objective about, hey, I think you just were objective about it. And if I had it, then you were like good and very positive. And if I didn't have it, you were like, no, man.
So this gives your practice a bit more structure, and you're getting some feedback at the end. So rather than having your own sort of distorted view of how it's going, you actually get someone who's a bit further along giving you some good feedback on it. So you kind of get some actual realistic feedback on where you're at.
I think the feedback portion of bootcamp is the most invaluable part. And I'm uploading things every week. And so when I'm uploading, I'm seeing what I'm having problems of. And then I try to give you as polished as I can. And then you give feedback on and say, hey, that's pretty good, but these are the issues here. And so I think much better than any sort of education that doesn't have feedback. I think the feedback is just incredible, because it takes the same amount of material and really puts it in me, and I really incorporate it. So I think the type of improvement is exponential.
The part that's unbeatable is that you have one price for a course that can last up to 2 years, and you have almost endless video submissions with pro artists. If you would divide that into, or if you would quantify a price for each one of those single submissions and try to add it all up, and if you would charge for each one of those individual episodes, you would be paying 1,200 pounds or whatever, if you want to price it differently. But so I think that's why it's so valuable, the package of bootcamp. And maybe some people haven't realized it, but I don't think there's anything that beats it for now.
I paid $50,000 for a college education that was valuable, but it didn't, technically, as far as guitar technique, did not challenge me as much as this did. Not even close. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yes, I would recommend it to anyone who wants to get better.
I think at first, when you see the initial figure, you might kind of get a shock. But when you think about how it's going to be, these courses, is it recommended to last actually 9 months? So when you give it a monthly breakdown and there is payment plans, it does become a lot more affordable when you think of it in terms of that, I thought.
I personally think it's a very good deal. It's really not expensive when you think about comparing it to private lessons. And then when you compare it to other online courses and things like that, I think honestly it's a great deal. If you actually learn, master, and incorporate everything, you'll be a different player. And so I think of it as an investment. And I like that I can go back to prior lessons and reference it, you know. If people are interested in improving and getting better, and again, Brian has done miracles in me already, you know, again, just working on musicianship, timing, cleanness, and everything, and picking out, you know, the things that I need to do better. It's a great value. And I think the proof is in the pudding, and that you get better, and, you know, and it's a lot of fun. So, and the price is right, honestly, compared to a lot of other courses. This is a great deal.
It's probably the most, let me find the word. I think it's a very humbling experience, because there's nothing like looking at yourself. And the same thing happens. You think you have something, but then you hit play and you see the crummy sounding, and it's just falling apart.
Or you think you've got something that you can do until you press record, and then you freeze up a bit.
Yeah, and that aspect too, totally that aspect, because when you're recording yourself, it's like a live performance, and then you find that you're making mistakes here and there. So recording yourself really has to, you really have to push yourself.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I think, yeah, I would say that I think it's just good having a structure. So I think it's great that you can just delegate amount of time that day to get into something. And then you sort of know exactly how much time you delegate into a certain subject as well. So you know that you're doing however many a day on like fretboard navigation, which is good. And also, yeah, again, I think just getting feedback on your playing when everyone's sort of locked down at the moment and you're living in your own little world, it's just great to have someone else giving your opinion on the more academic side of stuff as well, like, you know, fretboard navigation. When I suppose many people are doing videos of themselves playing, but in this kind of more academic stuff, it was good getting some feedback on that.
Oh, I came up with something here. So do you want to be better at guitar today than you were yesterday? Do a boot camp course. Do you want to be better at guitar next year than you are today? Then do a boot camp course. Do you want to have more respect from all guitar nerds you encounter? Then do a boot camp course.
Of course.